Okay, guys, let's get started. It's sharp 7, and this meeting is recorded, so I request you to be on mute. I'm Vikram, and I have 25 years of IT experience. I worked in India and US. This is my LinkedIn profile, and my company is Certified Solutions, and I'm into training and consulting. My areas of specialization is Microsoft Cloud, SAP, and project management. Project management, both full life cycle and support. So I'm running this study group, and I'm looking for training partners. Uh, and basically, my study group and training is certification oriented. So Microsoft Azure certification is again, you have a certification path. The fundamentals is AZ-900 and AZ-104. And this training is specifically for 104. After we are done with 104 in August, September, then we move on to the next level, that is architecture. So basically, the free training is for this level. But if you want to upgrade, you have to contact me, and I will make sure that you can schedule the exam somewhere in August, September. This is the certification path. You can check. AZ-900 is optional, even 104 is optional. You can directly take either DevOps or architect level, but it's like, it's like a graduation. First you have to do your high school or senior high, and then you go for graduation, right? So these are the 3-star certifications, and these are 2-star certifications, like associate level, and then these are, you can say, professional, right? So basically, at the end of this year, I am assuming most of my study partners or students will be able to complete the 3-star certificate. Okay? That's the plan. Again, these are all the concepts. My training is a fast track, as you say, as you have seen, noticed, fast track to Azure. So I'm condensing a lot of videos into one. See, my one video is equal to like 10 other videos. So you don't have to go and see 10 other places on YouTube or Udemy or WizLabs, or Pluralsight. My video is, if you see my video, you're going to save a lot of time and money. That is the idea of my study group, that I want to save time for it. Because I took a lot of time to learn this, so I'm actually will be spoon feeding you, and the person from whom I learned, he took a lot of time. So it's basically a better way of learning faster. So these are all the topics you will have in each of the certification. There is a skills. These are the skills which will be assessed, and why we have to go for cloud. Okay, pizza, or let's say Uber. Why do we have to go to a pizza franchise or car rental franchise? Let's say you go to a country, you're going to stay there for maybe a month. You're not going for a vacation. So it's not it makes more sense for you to rent a car, right? Because you don't have to pay capital upfront. Same thing when you hotel or pizza. You go there, you just check in and check out, and all the services are provided by the provider. In this case, pizza or car rental or hotel. Similarly, the case with cloud provider, right? So we'll come back to this on how uh, infrastructure as service, platform as service, and software as service is distributed. Okay. So now evolution. I mean, during the time how animals and humans have evolved, right? Same way IT has evolved. You know, when it started, we had mainframes. Mainframes used to be black and white computers, and they evolved into color and sleek machines. They used to be huge machines which consume a lot of power. But now we have sleek machines, and eventually people want everything on mobile, right? So this is how it has evolved, right? Same way, uh, uh, the development process, the application architecture has evolved, right? So from waterfall agile, it moved to DevOps, and monolithic has moved to microservices, and containers and cloud are the latest things. This is how everything has evolved, right? I mean, latest is, as I said, it has moved from mainframes to heavy computers to lightweight computers, and now it's serverless computing. So now, let's say there is a steering committee or decision makers, like the senior management. They decide, is it making sense for us to keep all the hardware in-house? I'm talking 5 years back. Already a lot of companies and organizations already moved to cloud. So whichever companies and organizations not moved to cloud, they better move, because availability, performance, security, and cost, return of investment makes sense when you outsource your hardware, right? Infrastructure, or platform, or even software. Everything I want to outsource. I'm going to decide, okay, this is, every 5 years I have to upgrade my hardware. Every 3 years I have to upgrade my software. So let's outsource this. Even the security aspect, I think it's much safer to outsource. So that's when, this is a typical IT infrastructure or network. And so it makes sense migrating to cloud. Some companies are still insecure, they want to keep the data on the data center, on the backyard, they want to see it every day. That's fine. So the cloud providers, right now, Microsoft, Google, and AWS, they are the leading providers. So they do offer like a hybrid cloud, so you can keep some data in-house and some data on the cloud. So these are the four aspects, components of IT infrastructure. One is the server, one is the storage, one is the networking, or one is the security. These four aspects, even when you go for certification, whether it is converged or non-converged, hyper-converged, all of them fall into these four components. And we are going to see this in detail. We'll be talking about servers for a week, storage for a week, networking for a couple of weeks, security for a couple of weeks. So this is the understanding of resources or services, right? So compute, networking, data storage, mobile, other services. This is the basically all the resources which you will master by end of this training or study group. Yeah. So in the previous olden days or yesteryears, you had a typical hardware where it took 10 minutes to restart or reboot, or maybe even if it's a mainframe, it takes more than 20, 30 minutes to restart, reboot. But going forward, at least 5 minutes it takes to restart, reboot. So you're expecting that downtime, right? But now with this high availability cloud, you're moving into serverless or container system where it takes milliseconds to restart a container or a pod, group of containers. And you are going to see that in detail, how this evolution has happened and what are the benefits of migrating to cloud. So there are like three types of cloud services, and they are all and three types of deployment models. Right? Service models are infrastructure as service, platform as service, software as service. So when infrastructure service is the hardware, basically the blades and the cluster, the data center itself is the infrastructure as a service, including the network. And then on top of that, you have operating system. And then the software developers come and use the platform itself. Now, if you are using, let's say, Office 365, or let's say you are using Gmail, that comes as a software as well. So all you have to do is just log in and start using it. So there's 3 cloud service models. So if you are using any of the websites today, Gmail, Facebook, so you are most likely using cloud because the backend is cloud. So cloud has become part of everybody's life. And then after the service models, you have deployment models, public cloud, hybrid cloud, and private cloud. Right? Private cloud is on-premise, public cloud is everything with the cloud service provider, and something in between, best of both the worlds is hybrid cloud. And these are all the characteristics when you go for a fundamental concept, AZ-900. They're going to ask you these questions about deployment models, service models, and then cloud characteristics. The cloud is scalable, agile, and elastic. What it means is, you use it as long as you want, and when you don't need it, you can shut down the VM, stop using it, save money. Right? The day you finish with your development, say goodbye to, all this resources which you have used. And so, let's say you need 1,000 VMs, and you have millions of users log into your application. So you can use elastic property of the system, right? Of the cloud. So scalable, agile, and elastic are some basic characteristics of cloud. And then fault tolerance, availability, disaster recovery. These are also brought by cloud. As you go forward from the slide, you will see how we implement high availability. The economies of scale. It is much cheaper to move to cloud. For example, let's say you want to buy a firewall. Let's say you want to buy a load balancer. Let's say you want to buy a data lake or a data warehouse. It's going to cost you like 10 times if you buy in-house. Whereas Microsoft is providing all of those services, including security, Active Directory, encryption. All of that is provided by the cloud provider, and at 10 times less cost. That is called the economies of scale. And moving to cloud saves you initial capital expense. A lot of capital expense is saved, and operational expense also. And maintenance also is saving. Total cost of ownership is saved. As I said, it's the whole cloud is divided into basically four components: compute, network, storage, and product analytics. So in this case, VMs, app service, they all fall in compute. Gateway, load balancer, VNET, they fall network, and there are different products, including Internet of Things, big data analytics fall into product analytics. This is an example of illustration of cloud characteristics and the benefits, identity access management, all this. When you go into cloud, it comes as a complete package. So I have to tell you, how it makes sense, and in a complex architecture environment of a typical IT is part of a cloud service provider like Azure. This is a typical example where you have a firewall, a subnet, gateway, bastion, and web tier architecture. This is a 3-tier architecture, right? It's a 3-tier architecture. And this is again a 3-tier architecture. You have a DNS, you have a distributed denial of service, public IP, application gateway, load balancer. So all the good things here, and resource group. We are going to revisit this again and again till you are comfortable with this. So the front end usually has the IIS server installed. The back end usually has the database server, SQL server installed. Then you have security aspects. Anybody who wants to access this has to come through the firewall, DNS, DDoS protection, Active Directory, then the load balancer, and then the zone. So we have to see what the zone means. This is another example of continuous integration and continuous development, right? CI/CD. So DevOps. As you have this architecture, both Azure and AWS, they provide DevOps, so you can continuously integrate. So there are many more benefits. That's part of the AZ-104 DevOps certification. But with this architecture, we have the release, test, build, and deploy, which comes as a package of Azure. Again, I'm going to show you this, create all this VNET, subnets, database, NSGs through three ways. One is through the portal, one is using the PowerShell, and one is through the command line interface. So I'm going to create all of these. This is a diagram of a network watcher, how it typically looks. It has a virtual appliance subnet, user-defined routes. Because if somebody wants to access my database server, they have to come through my web server, right? Web VM. And then my virtual appliance keep track of who is logging. Same thing with my Bastion and Java VM. So they keep track. It's all about security. I want to track who is coming, how long they are spending. All that is tracked using this kind of architecture. These are the different resources when you create VM, network interface card, public IP, load balancer, IX server, DNS, domain controller, and then global peering, VNet to VNet peering, site to site, point to site peering. And we're going to see what is availability set and expression. Then all this VNet is going to have security rules, so I'm going to cover that also in the later part. So as I said, there are three ways to access the cloud in Azure. One is the portal, one is the PowerShell, and CLI. So these are all typical commandlets with a verb and a noun. So you can use these commandlets to access security, compute, networking, and storage. So these are all the resources like Bastion, scale set, availability, balancer, table storage. These are all the resources we are going to deep dive into that. Just now a bird's eye view. Then later parts we are going to have a microscopic view of this. This is so. Before you access the Azure portal, you need to have Active Directory. You have to come through the security. Azure, Microsoft Active Directory is now part of Azure Active Directory. There are two different things. On-premise, you have Microsoft Active Directory, and on portal or on cloud, you have Azure Active Directory, and you can sync both of them. So if you have a single sign-on, you can see that both the user password throughout all the resources are the same for any user, and the various benefits like multi-factor authentication. Right? So if you log in, you can ask you for a passcode or a OTP, right? Which will be sent to your mobile phone. So you can have two-factor authentication, username, password, and OTP. So again, the account admin, service admin, and co-admin, right? So first you come through the Active Directory, and then it's a multi-tenant environment. So when you log in, they are like different applications can use different tenants. Under different tenants, you have again one-to-many relationship from tenant to subscription. One tenant can have many subscriptions, and one subscription can have many resource groups. So that is the terminology you have to know. So service admin can create many subscriptions and resource group, and they have all of them have owner, contributor, or leader, and there are many other roles which you will see will be assigned. So directory allows you for authentication and authorization. Authorization is for your password and privileges, whether you have a read, write, claim, grant, all that comes as part of uh, authorization. There's different. The Bible, basically all the notes are the origin of all the notes is docs. The latest docs.microsoft.com. This you can read that, and all the training providers read through docs and they create the notes, right? So this is a diagram of one-to-many. One tenant having many subscriptions, and these are permissions on those subscriptions. The one AD is having a single tenant and many subscriptions, and as I said, one to many and many to many. Right? So this is a Get Azure RM tenant, Get Azure RM subscription. So we are going to see this also. So, okay, if you execute this, it will show you what are the tenants and what are the subscriptions you are using. And this is another diagram of the Azure, how it is divided. Let's say you have prod, dev, and test. So you can segregate the users access to that. Uh, Account admin can create co-admin and service admins. When you create one, when you get the initial login, the super user has both account admin and a co-admin permission. But then later on, the super user creates many service administrators and many co-administrators. So it says up to 200 per subscription. Right? Service administrator is only one per subscription. Okay. Now, this is a VNET class. So basically, we finished the primary demo in the initial class, and whatever we have discussed over here will be not be discussed in the next class. Of course, this is at a high level, but how the CID or classless inter-domain rotation is done, right? So it is divided by 24, divided by 16, or divided by 8. So the lower the number, the more number of hosts can be, and last 3 bytes can keep changing. Okay, so and I want you to ask me questions on this at later point if you don't understand, because it is very important concept, and it took me a while to understand. So I want, unless you are coming from a networking background, see, a cloud architect or a cloud administrator is supposed to do 3 jobs. Okay? He has to have a knowledge of operating system administrator, let's say Unix administrator, Windows administrator. He should also have the knowledge as network administrator, also the knowledge of data. That's why a cloud administrator is paid so much. Right now, a DevOps engineer or Azure or AWS solution provider or even administrator is paid even more than any other, because they're saving so much time and money for the company that they need to have end-to-end knowledge of all these things. So you should be willing to wear the different hats in this operation. So I'm going to discuss CIDR notation here. The cheat sheet, as I said, the bigger the number you divide, the number of hosts keeps decreasing. So in this also, you can see, if you divide by 24, there are 256 hosts. If you divide by 16, it's 65,000 hosts. So divide by 16 is enough for most of the VNet or a network or a company article. I think 65,000 is a very high point for me actually. So usually you go for 65,000 in a VNet. And if you are using let's say or Bastion, you just need 32 for that subnet. And we are going to see this also. So in this case, this VNet is 10.1.0.0 by 16, and this one is 10.2.0.0 by 16. This one is 10.3.0, and there's a user-defined route. There's a VPN gateway. Okay, so now high availability. How Azure provides high availability? There's a single VM, and then there's an availability set. The SLA is 99.95%. This is 99.99%. So within a data center, you want to have fault tolerance, right? You want to, in case of disaster. So the two layers. So you go for availability center. Update domain and fault domain, which we are going to discuss, is helps you provide high availability within our data center. Now, availability zone is, let's say you have New York. Okay? You want to have a data center in East New York, or database data center in North New York, one data center in South New York, or East zone, right? So within that zone, you have three different data centers. So that, but if you want a global, say you go for region based. So you have East US, and then you have West US, or Asia, or you can divide between regions. This is a high availability. So as you go, you have Microsoft guarantees you that you have 99.99% uptime. So even if there is a maintenance, server maintenance, the server will be available. So that is how this availability sets, availability zone, and region pairs allow you to make 24 by 7, 365 days uptime. What's a fault domain and update domain? When you create a VM, in the backend, Microsoft creates 3 copies or 6 copies or 5 copies of your VM, or of your server, of your virtual machine. So Microsoft creates 3 copies or 5 copies. So you don't know from the front end. You just configure it, and if there is a maintenance of hardware crash or power failure of your blade or your server, you will be switched automatically to a mirror copy of virtual machine. The, that is when you will be switching, and in the back end and the front end, user application will never fail. That allows that is possible using availability set. And there's a load balancer service or resource. If internet users, when they come in, they log into these 3 availability set in the backend. So they connect through the public IP address, so they don't have to worry, what's happening in the backend. Same way. And then the security data right concept. So this is my course schedule. I'm going to divide in maybe 12 weeks. Demo, advanced network, storage, security, compute, monitoring, and backup. And after end of each session, we'll have a practice quiz, and we are going to have a lab exercise. My training is going to save you time and money. Um, this is something we are going to practice uh, you know uh, more often, and once you're done practice, then you're going to go to more typical VNET in a global enterprise, three-tier architecture. So we're going to practice creating VNet and subnets, attach NSG to the subnets, and attach VM to subnet, and then observe the topology in a network wise. So this is the lab practice we are going to do.
1 minute and the airports are
So you have any?
This is showing that is not at the time of morning.
Ah,
This is now, right?
and now.
Yeah, this is now.
Anybody? Any
Same here, right?
questions now? Anybody? Any questions now? Here?
We are here, right? This is our car, old car.
Yeah, that's our old car.
Yeah, guys, you can direct message me or WhatsApp me if you have any questions. If you want to become a training partner with me, and this is my YouTube channel, Certified Solutions. You can see these videos, recordings. Uh, so now I have complete creating the VMs here in my portal, and after creating in the portal, I'm going to go using my PowerShell and Cloud CA. Right? Let's see what I have. I go to resource group. So once you enroll in my study group or training, I'll make sure that you get access to the portal, and I'll make sure that you practice all these things, and you are a fast track. Okay? So let's say I go to development resource group, which I just created, and I have all the virtual machines here. See, this virtual machine is being created in a different resource group. So it is basically of no use to me. So I'm going to delete this virtual machine and create a new one, because this virtual machine is in a different resource group. So all the resources within a resource group are only going to be useful for me, right? So if you go back to this diagram, so this all are in my same resource group. So see, under subscription, you have plenty of resource group. Over here, we have plenty of resource group, but this web, I'm going to delete and create again. Web VM1. Say yes. Any questions so far, Giri and whoever joined through Zoom and through WebEx? Any questions so far? Ali, can you help the people who are trying to join the session? I think there are few people who are not able to join. Ali,
Yes, Vikram.
there are few people not able to join. Can you help them? I think they are waiting on the
No,
WhatsApp.
it's just simple. They have to click on that link, and
You help them. I mean, you call them or.
okay, I will check their message.
So I need to have port number HTTP 80 open for my virtual machine. So I'm going to get that. People can come through the internet to my front end subnet. make sure you create in the right subnet. By default, it gets a public IP address. So boot diagnostics, it needs a storage account. So if you turn it off, it will faster some. So it's downtime 7 p.m. If VM, down at 7, get an email when it shuts down. So I have two VMs created. Let's see if it is in the same resource. Now, while this is going on, I'm going to go to PowerShell, right? Command line into staging.
Uh, Welcome, Muzakkir. Okay, Ravi, Vikram, I think there was some ID issue with him. So I shared the username instead of ID. So he's connected now.
Hello, Ibrahim. Hello. I have a question for you. Uh, can we, look up into the external database and update it?
Vikram, are you on mute?
Vikram. Ravi, can you speak louder?